So here we go. My name's Jack. We're here with Richie and Keelan. We're gonna do a in-depth conversation talk about episode 8, and we're gonna try and be objective, say things that we thought could have been worked better, what worked well, and we all have our varying different opinions. So hopefully it'll be informative, if you will. Super spoiler warning, all over, from the start to the end, from right now henceforward. There's no timestamp where you're safe. You are not safe. Spoilers.
Yeah, it's your fault if you click on this and listen to us.
Yeah, I will make sure the title is very well articulating. Probably spoilers with at least 2 or 3 exclamations. Spoilers like the ass.
If we ruin the movie for you, I don't feel sorry for you at all.
It's too late.
Your tears power me.
You've gone too far. Okay. So here we go. Let's start with just initial thoughts. I kind of spoke to Keelan just a second before this, where I said I thought it was good. I thought it could have been great with maybe a little bit of different writing or better execution of some points, which I think we'll get into as we go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really liked the movie. It was a good movie. It paid for itself. Like, I go see it again.
Oh, obviously. But I mean,
I enjoyed it.
The thing is, when this movie came out, as opposed to Rogue One is more just like an off-tangent story that kind of connected, the movies. But I mean, Cole said this earlier. Like, Rogue One felt more like pure, we're watching a Star Wars movie. It's complete sci-fi. There wasn't really much humor to it, which I kind of actually did like.
I enjoyed that. Because I guess I didn't see the thing that I don't know if maybe it was the trailer that was a little deceptive. The trailer, especially with even the porch, I thought that was gonna be a big part of it, and I was so scared because I'm I don't the humor in Force Awakens didn't do it for me at all. So I was kind of scared that this one was gonna be a little too goofy. They played it.
I don't know. I think the Force Awakens might be the second or third worst one, honestly, in my opinion.
I don't think I would say that, but But anyway, okay, let's not talk about Force Awakens. Anyway, I interrupted you. A thought, elevator sentence. You have one paragraph to describe this movie, good and bad.
Good and bad.
So it did this good. I wish this could have been changed. We can kind
okay, and in terms of it kind of extenuated. It was a little bit drawn out. It didn't really need to be 2.5 hours long. It probably could have been a flat 2 hours, maybe. Take out half an hour of filler. Because, some of just Rey just dicking around, watching Luke do some random shit.
Yeah. We'll try and keep some kind of structure. So we'll talk about, so you think it was a little long, and we'll go into how we thought we could have shortened it later. Keelan, what do you think about it?
I'm gonna be completely honest. Yes, it was a good movie, but at the same time, I feel like it could have been done a lot better. I mean, I comparing it to J.J. Abrams' first film, yeah, the first film had a lot of parallels to the original New Hope, but at the same time, I feel like it was directed a lot better.
It kind of seemed honestly, it was Episode 5 in reverse.
Almost. Well, here's here's what I said, and I was talking to Ben about this earlier on Facebook. Is I think the parts that were unique were awesome, and the weakest parts were definitely the parts that were really reminiscent or really mirrored Empire Strikes Back. I feel I don't know if whose fault that is, if that's the studio or the director trying to pay homage unsuccessfully. But I think the parts of the story that were unique were definitely cool enough to be their own thing. They didn't need the whole they didn't even need Crate at all. And I can't remember who I was. Got into this with, but I think Luke, Luke could have projected himself anywhere. Now, granted, I think Crate, and again, maybe I don't think I like how Crate was executed. Crate felt really fan servicey to me, the
they
AT&T
just threw
walkers,
in a random
walker
walkers, scene in
right?
there.
Exactly. I think about that. So I guess if you've seen it or you haven't, and you don't give a shit about spoilers, there's a scene where they're on a Crate planet, right, and they're all in a bunker, I guess. And then there's a line of AT-AT walkers, but they never get destroyed, and they don't actually do anything. So it's just they were only in there as a wink, wink. Don't you remember these? And I think that really kind of.
Don't you remember trench warfare?
I'm just it's just it kind of made me the whole time. I'm just why? It just didn't need to be in there. And there's stuff like that just adds to this already absurdly long runtime. I think it's the longest Star Wars yet, right?
Yep.
By 5 or 10 minutes. Episode
by
3.
a few minutes.
Yeah. But I don't know. So you do all that.
Hey, babe, I'm gonna go.
Okay, have fun.
Drop off the...
All right, sounds good. Thank you. So yeah, we yeah, it's my girlfriend. She's going out Christmas shopping. God bless her. So yeah, I don't know. I think I also okay. So let's break it down character by character. I think that's the best way to do it. Talk about what they did in the story, and then we can kind of talk about how necessary it was.
I would like to start with the freaking guy who was going to hack the First Order. That guy.
Oh, Benicio del Toro's character?
The gambler or whatever?
I am not a fan of that guy.
Well, he didn't do it. Again, he didn't do anything.
Again, he didn't do anything, but he did that freaking stutter thing. That stutter, that added absolutely nothing to the character.
I was
going to say,
it was inconsistent. It was like...
Yeah,
well, his character was supposed to be it was kind of like to be like undertones, like he's kind of like a snake, obviously, like with like the stutter and like kind of like with that shit. But I mean, like,
I guess I can kind of get
that.
But
but the thing is, like, it didn't really translate to like it being like a plausible character that could have, like, honestly, they could have gotten codes to get in, like just how like they did in any other of the fucking
and the
movies,
thing
as
is,
opposed to having a person do it.
Well, the thing is, they never used them. Like, they go through, like, I don't know. I think the whole thing. I don't think. Again, one thing I was saying is I don't think Finn needed to be a character. Like, I honestly think if Finn would have died at the end of Force Awakens, that'd give Rey plenty of.
Well, that's because Poe Dameron in this one took over, like, basically the second main character.
I don't mind Poe. I was all in on Poe, but I just Finn again didn't do anything.
Best character in the entire
Finn didn't do shit. Like, so triggering. But anyway,
Poe and Rey are the most dynamic characters in
and
series
Poe,
right
you can tell, like, he has that dynamic where, like, he he's kind of gung ho and he gets a bunch of people killed, which is like a pretty big character arc with Leia, and then whoever her, like, Leia's friend is, that new chick, I forget her name, chick who warps into the fucking fleet,
purple hair girl.
Yeah.
Let's go to, like, Kylo Ren here, because I kind of am hating the fact that, like, they're continuing to portray him like as a spoiled child, basically.
I don't mind, because, like, even in this one,
I know, like, he's getting, like, the frustration, though, like...
The frustration and the betrayal from his master,
his master didn't really betray him. He's kind of just, like, his master just, like, said, you're a weak little bitch. It's not like his master directly tried to screw him over.
He directly tried to kill... Well, he was going to kill him. He was thinking about killing him.
Well, yeah, if
he ignited his lightsaber in his house. You don't remember those scenes with flashbacks? Those are the most intense scenes in the entire
I thought you
movie.
were talking about Snoke, sorry.
Oh, no, I was talking about...
Oh, yeah, no.
Luke.
That was super powerful. I love that bit.
Yeah.
Where,
Oh, speaking of Snoke, talk about the biggest letdown in
No, I don't think that was necessarily the case. Like, I don't think he had to be anything. And it's nice that they addressed it, so the last movie can really just focus on Kylo. So you don't have to.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. That's such a good thing. Like what you just said. Like they got rid of him basically, just like bam, like that.
I was like, they killed him because they ran out of. They ran out of CG budget.
You mean Disney who just spent $50 billion?
There's probably hundreds of thousands of forums like trying to figure out who the fuck Snoke is and all
I
that
love
shit,
it.
and they just shut him the fuck down. Like he's fucking out. Like he's gone.
I can't remember. I talked to so many people about it, so I kind of blur into who I talked about shit. But it's just like it seems like they actively tried to make no fan theory right. Like they had a list of all the fan theories, and they're like, we can't do any of these.
They purposely spiked the fan base just to get fucking rid of them.
Yeah, it's like Rian Johnson was just like, okay, we have a big scene with a lot of red particles later, so we need to kill the 7-foot tall deity, so we don't have to pay for him anymore.
Oh, can we also talk about how, like, you can tell? Okay, and then this is another thing where you can tell, like, I don't know if it was the director or the studio, but like. You can tell even from the trailer, like 60% of the trailer was like the last 10 minutes on Crate, which is weird because like when I went into it, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go, another Empire. Like it's just gonna be Empire 2.0, just as Force Awakens was A New Hope 2.0. But I was pleasantly surprised that they did allow the characters to be unique, but they still, I felt like we're being held back by somewhere. Someone was saying we gotta have like a Empire-esque Hoth scene. We have to have this, and you're just like. Yeah, but why?
Well, the thing is, like, they have, like, the
true
template of how they did 4, 5, and 6, so, they're probably gonna take, like, plays from the playbook on that one. I mean, you can't necessarily wrong them for that.
No, I didn't expect, no, okay, here's the thing. The thing is, I think they could have executed it in a more wholesome manner. Like they could have done something a little more unique, other than just like
if it was more subtle.
It felt really forced. Yeah. So if they could have,
it was more subtle.
That's why I said I think a little better writing or something, you might have been able to avoid like that. Like it was. I don't think cringing was the appropriate term, but I was just like, I could tell, be like, okay, here comes the obligatory, like, must have this snow scene or whatever. At least they didn't like fucking destroy the things with like the tripwires, because then I probably would have left the theater. But I don't know. I'd have been like, all right, yeah.
Well, okay. It kind of seemed like the things in the front that was like kind of like to counteract that. But I mean, like,
yeah. But again,
what was the thing that upset you all most about this movie? That's what I'm going to ask you.
I think Finn's importance. He's like fucking Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, whether or not he succeeds in anything is indifferent to the story, which really is just no. Okay, let me retract that. Captain Phasma still being around is the most fucking embarrassing thing I've ever seen. That loathsome cunt doesn't do anything.
That was what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say.
And she's such a marketing tool, like, fucking Christ.
She's got shiny Stormtrooper armor.
Like, okay, that's fine if you just had her in the background and she walked around, but, like, they're, like, she's in every cast interview. And it's like, Gwendolyn Christie, you're getting fucked. You had 38 seconds of screen time with one line, and then you fell to a fiery death.
That being said, like, it almost like redeemed her being in, like, just for me at least, like the fact that like she got shot and like the armor like actually protected her against.
But that's just
like, I was like, oh shit! I'm like, what? Damn! Like,
see, it's weird because like, okay, so yeah, cool. Her armor is reflective, but like, she didn't need to be in 2 movies to show her that. Like, all they needed to do was in Force Awakens before she dies, have someone try to shoot her and it bounces off. And then you can and then here's the thing.
The trash compactor.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is they could have like, and then they could have like reused, like there could be another general or something in the next movie that also has chrome armor. So then you don't have to have that setup scene. You can be like, oh shit.
There was in the book. It was Captain Crimson or something like that. It's something.
You know,
like I said,
I
would be so upset if I was Gwendolyn Christie, because like she talks about how she wants her character to be like a strong role model for women. Be like, dude, you're getting fucking worked. You're not doing anything. You get your ass beat.
I just like had like a random epiphany. So let's say like
I'm
for
gay.
like the Force of yeah. So like let's say for like the Force Awakens, you know how like Finn like helps Poe get off the like ship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they definitely like could have twisted it in the like, cause you know how useless Finn is in both of these movies. Like borderline fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Besides the fact like the like the Star Killer base, but that was like still they probably could have figured that out anyways with BB-8. But like Finn could have been a minor character that helped Poe get off, and then we follow Poe and like cause like Finn dies.
Yeah, well, like I said, with how much Rey for some reason cared about Finn, I guess I'd have to rewatch The Force Awakens to understand their relationship. Other than they both escaped Jakku together. It's just like if Finn would have died, like that could have been a really good, and I think that could have been interesting because it could have been like one of Rey's pulls to the dark side, like her anger and hatred towards the fact that Kylo killed Finn. Like that could be a good like dichotomy, like force in her character. Be like she's she's trying to do right, but she's still trying to deal with her anger over Finn getting killed or something. So then you can have him continue to be a useless fuck, but at least have him like important to someone who is very valuable.
But
instead
I mean,
of sending him to bullshit random missions.
Like the Finn and Rey dynamic, though, like when you think about it, like Finn was a stormtrooper, and then Rey was on like a planet, basically on her own island by herself. Like they were like the first time that they both had legitimate friends. That's why the dynamic is so strong.
Did you see Poe Dameron sliding into those DMs at the end of the movie with Rey?
No.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. Foreshadowing a relationship there.
Yeah, can we also talk? Yeah, can we talk about that cringeworthy scene where that Asian chick fucking just quick pecker kisses Finn after that,
and then dies.
As she like a fucking power slides into I was totally okay. I wish Finn would have just gotten fucking murdered to no avail. Like the place still gets blown to shit. Finn just dies.
Fucking blasted.
Yeah. Because, like, again, I think it's another thing where, like, I hate when a show or a movie has, like, a decent death for somebody, and then they're like, cop out.
That is my part. Yeah, that is the part that made me the most mad about this movie, was when Princess Leia got blasted out of the bridge, and then did a force float back to the ship. I was verbally upset, and I didn't even realize I did this in the movie theater. I screamed out. I was like, that ruins the rest of the movie for me. And I was like,
well, okay, you know what I really don't get is there was reports that they did rewrites for episode 9 after Carrie Fisher died, right?
It's like, oh, really?
But here's the thing. So that happened with plenty of time. Like, I honestly think they should have just let her die there. Like, the thing is, they pulled her back in. She did nothing, and now they're gonna have to address her not being in episode 9. Some point at episode 9, they can't just have a throwaway statement in the beginning like, Princess Leia choked on a meatball, like off screen and died. Like,
no, what she's probably just gonna do what like Luke like did as well, you know, just kind of like phase away by like Yoda, you know.
Yeah.
Like
the only role she played in the rest of the movie was one-liners. That is her entire purpose. The rest of the movie. And
then you know, like just like throw her in like how like they re-CGI'd her in like Rogue One.
That was so odd
as a ghost. That was like perfectly done though, like. And then, like, Tarkin was so bad. And then, like, Yoda was, like, absolute penis in this new movie.
Dude, no, I liked it. I liked it. He was he was the original puppet, which is what it made me very, very happy that they did that.
Okay, here's what I don't get. Okay, you know that's fine, whatever. I don't really give a shit if that's what you want to do, right? But the first time you see him, there's this really odd, like. They had the tangible puppet, right? And then they added like this weird CGI glow. And I remember I first saw that, and that was the only time. Even Jordan looked over at me. I actually just started laughing, like, and not like the like endearing laughter. I was like, it took me out of the movie so bad. And it's like, and it's weird because it's not like it needs to be CGI. Because I personally hated like CGI fucking cartoon circus animal Yoda from the prequels. But like I saw that and I'm just like, it looks fucking terrible. Like how many people saw this and were like, yep, good, send it.
Okay, honestly, the thing that triggered me most about this movie, besides, you know, like the kid, you know, using the Force at the end with like the broomstick, it was like, okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm just like, please Christ, no child actor for the episode 9.
But then like, so Admiral Akbar died in like that whole explosion with like Leia and stuff too, and that was like, oh yeah, Admiral Akbar's dead.
Oh yeah, by the way, Admiral Akbar's dead.
But that's how they. Okay, you know what's so funny? I laughed almost out loud when I came back and thinking about it. Like one of the main stories is we'll talk about things we liked to here in a minute. It's not like we hated it. We all liked it. We're just kind of nitpicking it for the sake of shits and giggles. But is there's like they keep saying like the old has to die, and yet they're still so like. You know, I guess it doesn't really matter. You know, a movie doesn't have to, you know, a studio doesn't have to mirror the message of their movie. But I just thought that was kind of a bit of a goof.
Oh, how about
like the old must die? But it's just like everything is like half the movie is like a desperate childish hold onto, you know, like the old, I guess.
So, giant plot hole right here is so you know Kylo Ren was shooting out the shit out of that ship, you know, the capital ship. And he blew up the bay with, like, all the fucking, like, vehicles, like the fucking A-Wings and all that shit. And then they're like, oh, well, we can't protect you. You need to come back. He could have fucking single-handedly destroyed that whole fucking thing by himself with his fucking
here's another thing. As far as inconsistent goes is they made a big deal of, like, that wristband that they were wearing. You know, because they're like, you know, they gave it to Finn because he was leaving because they're like, okay, if Rey comes back, he can't come here because we might all be fucking dead already, you know.
Just leave it at the casino.
Yeah, but no, here's what I'm saying is like they made such a big deal of it. There's so many like direct camera angle shots on it, and then it actually meant nothing. Like she just showed up to the place where they said if she shows up, we're fucked, you know. And then it's just like, oh, okay, whatever, we're good. Like it'd have been cool. It'd have been kind of clever if like Finn went out on that adventure, right, to like the casino, and he like it fell off or got stolen there. And so now they have to come back to save, like, you know, the fleet, but now they know that Rey won't be able to come find him or something. So, like, I think they could have played creatively off that instead of it being actually nothing.
And yeah, I mean, the Casino Planet was really cool, but they made that whole entire scene, or the entire act, I'd say, into an anti-war propaganda thing. Oh, they're war profiteering. We can't fund them. Oh, they're funding both sides. War is bad. You live in the Star Wars, okay? You live in the Star Wars. It's gonna happen.
I don't know what I did to my smudge tool. I kind of fucked it up, but no, it's so. All right. Anyway, let's go to.
What made that entire segment into just a point.
Yeah, and then there was like animal abuse in there with like the weird horse. Like,
let's let the horses out because of war profiteering.
Well, again, it's just like, okay, I have no issue with like there being, I guess, a feel good moment. Be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm glad that these animals that were getting fucking Michael Vicked in their cage for eternity got freed. That's fine, but it's just like, yeah, maybe just a little too much focus on it. You're kind of like, please stop.
Well, it kind of put like the whole like Star Wars, like what the fuck was going on aside just for it, and it was just like, come on now.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, like Phasma is like the new fucking Boba Fett now.
Phasma is because at least Boba Fett did something. Phasma actually does nothing in every scene she's in.
Yeah, no, but they're trying to make her like the new like Boba Fett.
Like, Boba Fett didn't do anything except for get his head cut off. That's all he did. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, does he fight in any of the movies? No, he doesn't. He gets his head cut off in one scene after trying to blast Han Solo. You know.
I don't know. I think you might be talking about Django. Django gets decapitated.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Django. Fuck.
Yeah, he was trying to blast Mace Windu.
I mixed both of the scenes together. You can cut that out, right?
I'm not going to, but yeah.
We have to have at least one cringeworthy moment here.
That's fair.
Everyone's gotta be like everyone who's listening is gonna be like, wait,
it's like,
what the fuck?
His opinion is now invalid. He was talking about
everything he says, he doesn't know the fucking difference between. It's just like, I think that everyone has like a desire for like, they have like that I think it's weird because like there's always a formula of like a secondary non-force using villain. To some degree, the prequels it was Django,
well, it's Hux now.
Zam Whistle.
Well, there was also
but like that's what they tried to
in 3.
Well, no, it's Ron Weasley's brother.
Force, but yeah, technically the argument is that Captain Phasma, because they don't have bounty hunters really, so yeah, Captain Phasma was the non-force using. Because here's the thing, I think the argument is that like it's always supposed to be there's like the force users, right, who are always in opposition, Rey and Kylo. But then I think the thing was that they always wanted somebody who they could argue was an equal fight for the lesser. So for Han Solo, an equal fight was Boba Fett. Like I think they argue that Han Solo would just shit on Boba Fett in the same way that Rey would probably just molest Captain Phasma. So they try to have like different tiers of enemies for the different tiers of strength of their characters. And I just think that Captain Phasma just failed. She's not intimidating. I don't know. I think one thing they could have done more is if they'd have done the relationship between her and Finn more in like episode 1. But literally it's just like, oh hey Finn, why do you hate Captain Phasma? Oh, she's my boss and she's kind of mean. Okay, like.
Okay.
But in her defense, in her defense, you kind of like fucking betrayed him, so you can't be like, "Oh, why you hate me, bitch?" Be like, "Well, you kind of abandoned them, so she can hate you. You don't really have a reason to hate her."
One of the low-key like worst things I'm hating about this like new series of movies, honestly, is like using like 3PO and R2-D2 as token characters. They're like, "Oh, hey, they're there." Like, it's just like.
Well, it makes a little more sense in this one, I guess, but. It was so embarrassing in Rogue One. It made me fucking throw up. It's just turning into more of like a fucking roast of Rogue One, but I think it's fair to hold them opposed to each other because it's by the same, I guess, company, if you will. Like it's the same cinematic universe, I guess. I don't know. But I think like R2-D2 is the only one that really stuck out for me. It's fine that C-3PO is lingering around Leia's ship. Like R2-D2 turned on Luke, he's like, oh, hey, dude, and then it was over, and then he never did anything.
Yeah, like, when God damn it.
Thank you.
That is another part that made me so mad. Like, Rey was trying to get him off the island for so long, and all that R2-D2 has to do is show him that one little hologram low blow.
But for what it's worth, he didn't leave the island.
I know, he didn't.
Like, also, sidebar in here, I just completely shit on my person I'm going against with fantasy this week.
Are you playing PUBG?
Oh, he's playing fantasy football like a winner.
Yeah, I currently have 174.9 points against 92.7. We each have one player.
All right, thank you for that, Ben.
Welcome.
Okay, so let's talk about a good thing, because we've talked about shitty stuff for like 25 minutes.
The scene where Purple Lady went to light speed through the ship. That was the best coolest scene in the movie. And about, I think it's one of the coolest scenes in any Star Wars movie.
Yes,
I think it was.
I agree with that completely.
Well, I think it's cool because like I was talking to Ben too. It's like I think we've all kind of wondered that. Like, what happens if you hit something going light speed? And like, answer is it gets everything gets destroyed. Like just
boom.
Well, because
she literally like rocked the entire fucking fleet.
Well, I think it's so funny that they played it really well too. It wasn't just like they stopped paying attention, all of a sudden, just and then gone. It was like they saw her like leaving, and they're like, "Oh, she's just jerking us around. She's trying to distract us." And then they're like, "Oh wait, oh shit, we're about to get fucked. Shoot her!" And then they're just too late.
Fire everything. Like fucking. But the thing is, that'd be such a cool twist if like. Because you never actually see it blow up. Like she went straight through fucking everything. What if she comes back in episode 9? Like that would be.
It's like, oh yeah, my ship is unscathed.
Yeah, like wait, yeah. Despite that being
hyperlight shields are for.
Yeah.
That being said, like the coolest scene.
I'll tell you what, if that does happen in episode 9, I'm walking.
Hammerhead scene. Just saying.
If that does happen, I'm walking out of episode 9. If she comes flying back, welcome, Leia. I'm here to be more exposition.
Okay, now I'm kind of scared because, like, what if she went to go get help and then she comes back with like a giant?
Well, okay. Here's another thing.
When they seem like they're about to be fucked.
This is to show how horrific the writing and like how useless Leia was after she Supermaned herself back in. She went into the thing and they were in the crate barrier. She's like, "Use my secret code." Doesn't sound like Sidious in the movie, but and she sent it out and absolutely nothing happened. They're like, oh, okay. So that even shows like maybe if like it was her secret code, like Leia 69 that got everybody to come help. She's like, I have allies in the universe. Well, I guess not.
Use my secret code, Princess Leia 6969.
I wouldn't mind if they would have done some like backtracking to figure out how like the fucking like rebellion or republic or whatever the fuck you want to call it got to this point. I mean, like, how did the Imperials just regroup so fucking bad when all these fucking planets were, like, free? Like, at the end of Star Wars Episode 6, like, fucking Tatooine and fucking Naboo and Coruscant and all those people are, like, celebrating that they're free.
It's because Mon Mothma was just doing it for the money, so everybody knows that. She didn't do the military very well. I don't know.
That kind of wasn't her thing.
She cucked everybody.
Mon Mothma.
Yeah, I just. Yes. And then again, another thing with that Asian girls, I don't know if there was like a fucking diversity quota they needed to cover. But that's kind of how it feels sometimes. But like, okay, and that's that weird thing is like, I don't want to. I honestly don't think I would have these quarrels if I didn't watch interviews, because like I watch interviews and then that's all I could think about is because I know there somewhere in there like that's where it happened. Like I was watching an interview with that the Asian chick who helps Finn escape or whatever and goes to the casino with them because they paid her money and they want to get their money out of her. And so she's like, I'm just really happy that I can be a beacon or an inspiration to Asian Americans. I'm like, what?
I kind of
like if she once have said that, I'd have been like, okay, cool. It's a kind of useless character, no worse than Finn. But then she had to say that, and now all I can see is like, that's all I can see now. So maybe watching interviews ruins movies for me, and I should just.
You know what? I don't get it. It's like so.
Because like I said, Star Wars, I don't give a shit if she's Asian, but like, why do you have to make a deal out of it?
Well, speaking of, like on a different like kind of note here, but you know how like a decent amount of they like try to keep like the people with like their original accents and everything, but like Finn is British. Like the guy who plays Finn.
There's a lot of fan theories based around that because they're usually really deliberate on who can and cannot have an accent or like who needs to cover it. So,
but like. Because like when you hear like John Boyega regularly talk, like he has
it's a very British accent, yeah.
Same thing for Rey, but like even like Rey, it kind of seems like she's trying to tone it down for the movie. It's just like don't really need to.
So okay, there's one of two things: either A, they are being deliberate and there will be some kind of reveal, or B, John Boyega is a better better at disguising his accent.
Like American.
Yeah, John Boyega's American accent is fantastic. Like, I'm fully convinced. But yeah, then I watch interviews with him, like, holy shit. Is that the same guy?
Like, it doesn't even sound like the same person. Yeah.
You know, pretty crazy. So, I don't know. I guess hats off to him for being a good actor. Yeah. It's just a shame his character's a useless fuck.
Speaking to the accent part, we still, I mean, it kind of explained where Rey's parents were. They just sold her for drug money or whatever. But,
I feel like there's a 40% chance that that's just.
Yeah, that's just bullshit.
Well, here's the reason why, like, okay, yeah, it could be bullshit, but there's reasons why I don't think it might not be is because they did such a good job of not trying to make something cheeky out of Ben being Luke and Leia's kid. You know, it's almost like a piece of throwaway line. So I feel like if they did that and then they tried to be like a surprise with Rey, it'd feel really odd. So I think that.
Well, I wonder if it's kind of like undertones of like America versus the British, because you know the Imperials always have like this like kind of like they always
like, are you being real
British
right now,
accents and all. Yes, just run with me on this. Just run with me on this for a second. So, like, you know, like the majority of like the characters, like, you know, like whatever, like they generally kind of have like the like accents as opposed to the rebels, like they have like kind of like American kind of style, like in speaking of English. I mean, I'm not saying there's like a theory behind that. I'm not reading into that, but I mean, it's just like a possibility. I don't know.
Nah, I mean it's interesting. It is, but it's hard to say. I don't know. I hope Poe is. See, I think the one thing I will say that I did enjoy about it is it kind of felt like some of the characters were falling into molds of prior ones. Like I don't want Luke 2.0. I don't want Han 2.0. I want these new characters. So I think they did a good job of kind of giving them their own kind of identity. So like I was all in for that. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Poe's his own dude now. Finn, although being useless, is still kind of his own dude. Rey is definitely not, Luke or anything. So like they did a good job there of letting the characters be unique, which kind of goes to the parts of saying where I thought that the parts that were unique and they let them do their own thing were easily the best parts.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed that they made them all unique. Can I just go to the fact though that how unredeemable Luke Skywalker's character was in this movie?
I mean,
was that a point of contention to you? Because I cannot believe like his personality in every single other bit of Star Wars media has just been so positive. In this movie, like he basically turned into like some hermit in a mountain. Like, yeah, he fucked up, but that's not who Luke Skywalker is.
Okay, let me mention this one thing, and this was it's a little bit on a fan theory, so it's not 100% my thinking, but there's a big theory that I thought was really gonna, and I think I kind of psyched myself into believing it a little too much, which kind of bummed me out when it didn't happen. Is there's that quote in the trailer, and Snoke says it too, where it's like the dark rises and the light to meet it, and I thought it's kind of like the idea that like the fact that it's almost like the Avengers issue. The fact that there is a light and a dark side means that one will always overtake the other one in like an infinite cycle of violence, if you will. So it's like, as long as there are Jedi, there will be Sith, and vice versa. So I thought with Luke saying that I needed to be the last Jedi, he's like, if we ever want like peace in any capacity, like the ideology of the Jedi has to die, and that will be me. But then Yoda's just like, be a Jedi you must. Like, oh no, Yoda, stop. And the same with like Snoke. I thought that was going to be kind of a cool connector, that both Luke and Snoke kind of came to the same understanding, where it's just like they both realized that no individual side is stronger than a combination of the two. So I thought maybe that's why Snoke was so interested in Rey, and same with Kylo, because Kylo still had those like ties to the he still had that family allegiance or love to a degree, you could say, as much as you can after you murder your dad. But same with like Rey, is like he understood that if they do bad things but they embrace both sides, they'll be stronger than they ever could have been. But I don't know, maybe that's a little too I don't like saying that it's a little too intelligent for the audience, because it's kind of demeaning, but I don't, maybe that's not what the general audience wants. Maybe they like but I thought it could have been something cooler than maybe just the copy paste Jedi and Sith.
Yeah, and Yoda he burns down the Jedi Temple with a lightning bolt, but at the same time, they actually didn't destroy the Jedi Temple, because in the last scene, Rey has all the books in her like shelf.
Yeah, so it was essentially useless what he just did.
Yeah, like what was the purpose?
You could argue that it was to show Luke. You could argue that it was more of a thing for Luke than because.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but
it wasn't like Yoda's just like time to die.
They symbolically burned the Jedi Temple, but they didn't burn the darkness nexus at the bottom of the island either. So like they didn't do either of those things. They just burned the light side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I don't know. It's kind of hard to put, I guess, because I honestly don't know how necessary Yoda. Like Yoda, I think was necessary for Luke's progression, but I don't think Luke's progression was necessary for the story as a whole. Like him coming to terms with the fact that he had a moment of weakness and almost fucking considered murdering one of his apprentices.
Well,
I think that's super cool. But like,
I kind of feel like the movie title in general is kind of like an oxymoron because like they said like, oh, the Last Jedi, like a Jedi needs to die, whatever. But like Rey still has all the books, and like obviously she's gonna be.
And she thinks she's a Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's still gonna keep on living on through her. So I mean, and obviously like Luke and Yoda and them aren't truly dead. So I mean, they're there for her pretty much. So.
All right, so let's talk about. All right, let's do. I don't want this to go too much over an hour. We're at about 35 minutes. So let's talk about the really shallow bullshit. Let's talk about some action, which I think a big argument is that people don't think there is enough. How do you guys feel about like the the kind of popcorn pleasing action bits? Do you think there was enough to please the average person? Do you think it was appropriate for the story? Do you think there could have been more or less, somewhere in between?
I mean, if you're like a person going to the movie theater, like you've seen all those previous Star Wars movies, whatever, and you kind of just don't really get into it, other than like just the base like storylines.
I want to see a Jedi and a Sith beat the shit out of each other with cool CGI lightsabers.
I mean, like, cause like that, like the Praetorian scene that like kind of fulfilled like that end of like the bargain. Like that was a pretty cool ass scene. Like
there's plenty of space battles, so I think. I don't know. I'm surprised to see that there seems to be so much, like, people are saying, like, it was boring, but, like, if you think about what actually happened, I think there was more action scenes or, like, confrontational scenes than probably your average one. Certainly more than all the prequels.
Okay, actually, speaking of scenes, the opening scene with, like, the bombers, holy fuck were those things useless. Like, why? Why were they so fucking big and so slow?
Well, it's just like it's like why couldn't they have a projectile? Why did it actually have to fall like fucking
what
World
happened
War
to the
II?
Y-wings? What fucking happened to the Y-wings? Like those were way better than that.
Or like why? Okay, like they were just bombs and they're in space. Why, when she dropped them, did they fall like fucking
like gravity?
Like World War II artillery. Like it looked like a thing straight out of fucking History Channel's World War II. They have like the in-bomber footage. It's just like it's cool, to be like to have like the idea of a bomber, but like at some point someone's got to be like, wait, you can't have you can't have a bomber that functions like a fucking a bomber in in the fucking Earth.
Well, plus, like, like they blow up the Devastator with that, and it falls like it's fucking falling out of the sky. It's like they're in space.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's something that's going to be canon now, that it's, like, not really that spacey, because, I mean, you can hear everything that goes on.
Well, see, that's the thing, too, though. It's like when they
it's a different kind of reality.
And Leia survived it for, like, 10 minutes in space.
Well, it was weird, because they even made... We're back on this fucking cringeworthy Leia scene. They even made it like she was like crystallizing because it's fucking frozen in space. Like, and I honestly thought what could have been enough. It was like she like twitched her hand and like Luke's hand twitched across wherever. I'm like, that was enough for me. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Leia was a bit force sensitive, and I was having this conversation with people at work, and I think this may very well articulate why she was still in it. Someone's just like, Leia was way too cool of a character to die like that. I'm like, but she hadn't, like, she was cool when she was younger. Like, she doesn't do anything now. Like, that's okay to, like...
She's just like an armchair general.
Yeah, that's like saying Han Solo was too cool to die that way. In his old age, all he was doing was smuggling fucking, like
he didn't even want to live through the episode 6.
Yeah. Well, the thing is just, like, when they were cool when they were young, yes, but, like, their character has a natural progression. Like... Leia, at that point, Leia was never going to pick up a blaster and start fucking, doing, like, trench runs or, like, busting into the Starkiller base, capping people. Like,
the most action she did was shoot at fucking Rey and the fucking Asian chick when they burst through that.
She shot Poe because he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Fucking mutiny. But, so it's just, like, I think that could be an issue, is where people are like, she was too cool of a character to go out that way. Be like, no, she wasn't. Like, that was a fine way for her to go. Like, and it made more sense than whatever weird thing they're going to do in the end one. Like, she getting killed by, like... And it could have been cool to see, because they made a very obvious scene of Kylo Ren did not shoot the torpedoes, right? It was just two, like, wingmen that shot in. Like, it could have been cool to see that, like, he says, that, oh, I did it, I I killed my mom, and then Snoke like reaches in and be like, wrong again, bitch. So like they could have played that better. Like they could have had that been a more significant part to characters who actually give a shit about.
Well, I thought like like in the commercials and stuff, it's like like it's like saying in the background like kill the past or whatever the fuck, like whatever Kylo says, and then it like acts like he's like about to fucking blow her up or whatever, and then like the commercial ends.
I honestly think that the trailer is really misleading, but anyway,
it was very misleading.
It was incredibly misleading.
But I think I don't know. I think one issue that I have is that with them knowing that Leia was not going to be in the next movie, I don't see any reason why they needed to.
They'd already shot some scenes with her in the next.
But they said after she died that yeah, she's still going to be in 8, but they wrote her out of 9. So like, I don't know. I think that it would have been easier to rewrite the few scenes she's in 9 than because now they're going to have to address her death somehow. Because trust me, if you think people being outraged that she kill her, well, here's the thing. Yeah, you think people being outraged about her getting blasted into space was bad? Watch you kill her in a fucking 5-minute scene after her first scene in the episode 9. You're gonna get fucked crucified. Like they fucked themselves. Like I don't know. I think
they're almost gonna have to have a time lapse, honestly.
Yeah. Like a I don't know, a
montage. A death montage.
Like a Doctor Strange.
Yep.
I don't know. It feels like such an odd choice. I think
that's if she died right there, she would have been fine. Like,
well, because honestly, I don't know anybody. Like, okay, so I saw her die in the thing, and it felt so appropriate. Like thematically, the music was appropriate. I'm like, all right, she's dead. Like, and again, like the whole thing is like out with the new. Luke is done at the end of it. Like Leia could have been done there, and I'm just like, but like I wasn't when I saw her first die there. I wasn't like, no, you deserve better. I'm just like, okay, that
feels right.
Yeah, you're like that's good. And then she came back, and now I'm just like, now I don't know how they're gonna do it.
There has to be a time lapse. There has to be like.
I think they fucked themselves. To be honest, I don't know
how
they.
I don't know how they.
I don't know how. I don't know how they execute this.
Do they know who's? Do they know who's directing the next one?
JJ's back, I think.
JJ is. Thank God.
I didn't mind this director. I think. Well, here's the thing. The reason
he's got a good eye and he's got a good storytelling, but like all the cringy shit that happened in this movie, it was just like, come on.
I think JJ is more into like the fan service stuff. So honestly, if I had to say, I don't think disappointed was the appropriate word, but I don't think he is going to make. I think another director could have been more competent. It's like, okay, you look at this, like you look at the Star Trek series, like the new Into Darkness, Beyond. The first one I think was Into Darkness, right? Or
no, that was the second one was just Star Trek.
Okay, so that one was like a suit, like that one was like a carbon copy, but like it's the same with Force Awakens. Everyone's okay with that because you're kind of just reestablishing the universe. You're saying this is the tone, this is what's happening, right? But then Star Trek Into Darkness, exactly the same as Wrath of Khan with like a little bit of changes. So you're just like, it kind of shows that like I feel like J.J. Abrams, whether he knows it or not, is being influenced a little too heavily by the subsequent material. Nope. So like I feel like I'm afraid that this one will fall to like I thought this one did a better job of being its own thing than Force Awakens by a large margin. But I'm unfortunate to fear because now I fear that this the new one is going to fall into the same pitfalls as Force Awakens in the matter of because I don't think anybody can argue that the Force Awakens wasn't an almost embarrassing ripoff of Poe, and I don't want to see that happen to
pretty bad.
Well, and the thing is that this guy has done this director. I keep forgetting his name. He did a good job of setting up the characters to be unique.
Like
so
Ryan Johnson or something
I hope that J.J. Abrams, if he retakes the helm, continues with the new story that's been like set up and not trying to like correct course, if you will, to better adhere to. And obviously,
like if they have Billy D. Williams in there as Lando, I'm gonna be kind of
sad. Again, I think with this one's kind of whole theme was like let the old die. So like I hope they do because the characters. I guess if I had to summarize, the characters are cool enough. They're on their own thing. They're doing their own story, and it's cool enough that I hope that whether it be studio intervention or whatever, they let them have their own story. That's my greatest fear and my greatest hope is that they let them have their own story. Because I don't want to watch Han and Luke again. I've seen it once.
Seen it 3 times. collectively 4 actually.
I give it a 65%. That's what I would give it.
Again, I think it was great. All right, let's do some closings.
I mean,
let's do some closing statements. We're all gonna
could grow on. It could grow on me.
We're all gonna give it. We all get 5 minutes now here. The last 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, you get 5 minutes. I'll time it. You get 5 minutes to say closing comments, kind of what you thought about it. So I guess I'll start. Here we go. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it could have been better. I think there was some, like I articulated earlier, there's been some pitfalls where a lapse of creativity or intervention from a boardroom standpoint, or I don't know who to blame. I didn't really look into it, but I felt like if it would have cut its ties with the Empire a little more, I think it could have cut down on that view time, because 2.5 hours I feel is not going to age well. I feel like it's going to feel really long on repeat viewings. First time was fine. And there are some how they handled some material was really silly, and they handled some good. I think the character interactions between Rey, Kylo, and Luke specifically were awesome. I love that bit. Couldn't recommend it enough. And if for nothing else, go to see that bit. Go to see them interacting with each other and just kind of zone out whenever you see Finn on the screen. Hopefully, Captain advertisement is gone. We never have to see that loathsome hoe again. But I guess 5 minutes is a lot. I don't need any more. I'd say see it. It was fun. It's a good Star Wars movie. Don't know how well it's going to age. And hopefully J.J. Abrams doesn't course correct back onto the original trilogy line and lets it be its own thing. Juicy, who's up next?
I would have to agree with what you say. I really did enjoy the movie. There was a lot of almost uncomfortably silly stuff in it, i.e. the Leia scene, which I am still so unbelievably upset about, but I won't go into that right now. Definitely go see the movie. I mean, it's worth it. It's Star Wars. You're going to love it. That's all I got.
That's kind of the thing, though. It's just I think people who like Star Wars, regardless of a review, are gonna.
Yeah,
it's
Star Wars.
Yeah,
the cartoon that came out in the theaters. I was like, I went to saw that. It was good. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Star Wars.
Yeah, and you know if you like it, I think it'll be good. Again, I think that runtime is really gonna hurt. I'll be able to answer this, talk about it more, thoroughly, in a few days when I've seen it 2 or 3 times. But I just remember Rogue One. I almost can't rewatch it. I enjoyed it the first time, and I have no enjoyment watching it again, and that bums me out. But anyway, all right, Ben.
All right. Well, for me, I actually really did like the movie, but I mean, like was said before, a lot of there's kind of an implementation of a little bit too much comedy for what a Star Wars movie usually is, as in every other one except for this one has had this one just kind of had almost an outrageous amount of random comedic scenes that kind of I don't necessarily liked how it was kind of almost clashing with moods how the movie was supposed to be going, and it would just ruin the ebb and
so it was
flow
a James
of
Gunn movie.
Yeah, but then a lot of the action scenes that were in the movie were actually pretty legitimately good, except for the crate ending scene. The whole Walker battle and all that, that didn't really do anything for me. And the fact that Luke Skywalker basically phased himself over there and just made a mockery of Kylo Ren, that was it kind of just was okay.
Styled on him a little bit.
I mean, the styling on him was pretty cool, but it's just okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of a
it gave the people that were trapped in there time to leave, but. The whole last scene didn't really need to happen, and
I think there's a lot of that.
I mean, I would honestly say probably about 5% of the movie, and is very regrettable scenes, but for the most part,
yeah,
I probably about. I'd probably say about 85% of the movie. I give 15% a hazy / did not like it all part about it. So
I mean, Kylo Ren is still an angsty boy who listens to Nickelback in his Tie Advanced. That's what he does.
Says my rich dad is gonna sue your dad if you don't give me the newest, coolest TIE fighter.
Yeah, why the fuck does it even have to be a TIE fighter?
Yeah,
like,
that's again, it's like fan service where it's just like Darth Vader had a special TIE fighter, Kylo Ren needs to have it. Give him a special something else.
I did kind of like that he smashed his helmet up, though. Like, that helmet.
He's kind of he's just like
dumb.
Well, no, I don't think it was dumb, but it kind of represents that, like, because after
it was useless.
Snoke
said, "Take that ridiculous helmet thing off."
But that's the thing. It's like no, because here's the thing. It was reminiscent because like Darth Vader used his helmet to intimidate people, so like Kylo Ren just like
he had to wear it though.
But I'm gonna be honest, I really like that because I hated his helmet. Like, I mean, it looked really cool when he had his cloak on, but when he took it off, it was like Jesus, Martha. It looked so bad.
It looked stupid as hell.
It's a little,
in my opinion.
But anyway, yeah,
it's incredibly tacky. All it is just changing his voice. It doesn't even really do anything.
I thought that was cool.
But that's the thing. The thing is that its only purpose was to help intimidate other people around him. Like, he didn't need it. But in the same way that, you know, I guess Darth Vader needed his helmet, but it was still formed as an additional intimidation factor. So that's kind of how he wore it, you know, to intimidate.
Yeah, but I mean, like, also, like, if you're, like, watching, like, The Force Awakens, you don't know who any of the actors are, like, prior to this, and then you don't know that Adam Driver is it. Like, not saying Adam Driver is a bad Kylo Ren, because, you know, he's not
great.
bad. I think he's a good one. But, I mean, like the reveal to, like, who it is, like, that would be such a letdown. That would be such a letdown. Like, you cannot tell me that would not be at least a small disappointment.
The thing is that they never tried to make it. Again, they handled it with tact, where it was never meant to be like a crazy badass reveal. You're just like, oh, this is just essentially just an angsty dude who's desperately trying to be a badass. So the fact that you've seen him before, I think, kind of helps mitigate the potential disappointment from seeing he's just a whiny kid. He doesn't actually need the helmet, just uses it to try and.
That scene where they fought the Red Guards too, that was pretty sweet. Yeah,
that was cool. It was good to see them work together and then instantly be like, "Fuck you!"
I mean, it definitely made up for like a lot of what had led up to that point. I mean,
but okay, like, also, were we supposed to learn who the Knights of Ren were in that movie?
I think they kind of alluded to it because they're like Ren and his buddies.
He left with like half a dozen like Jedi.
I thought they said a fucking ton of them like got off somewhere or something. Maybe I missed.
Well, he said that there was like 12 there, and he said like he like left with like half of them, and the other half died.
Well, I mean, maybe I think again that might have just been a little bit more of like a wink.
So they are actually Luke's apprentices.
Yes, they were.
Okay. Well, because Luke had trained a couple of people, and Kylo was just abnormally strong, and then he's just like, "Fuck, I got it."
Yeah.
But anyway,
if I had to ask that question, I bet you a lot more people have to ask it too.
Anyway,
is he the only one left from the Knights of Ren at this point? Is that it?
No, they're supposed to be alive. Like that's what we're supposed to see in this movie.
I don't think it's supposed to articulate that they're alive. I mean, it might. If anything else, it might set up for the future where like Kylo puts out his space call, Kylo 6969, and the Knights of Ren and be like, "We're here, brother." Oh, Luke disappeared into the fog. Got you, dude.
I wonder if like Snoke made him like kill all the other ones to prove himself.
Maybe, but I think it's already articulated that Kylo was abnormally strong because Luke didn't try and murder any of his friends. You know,
well,
Luke wasn't like, "Fuck, all three of these dudes are super strong. In my moment of weakness, I'm going to off them all." He's just like,
well, because like you know, like he said with like Rey at that one moment, like when she like immediately like fell into like the darkness there, like it's like, wow, you didn't have any hesitation, just like Ben Solo.
Yeah. But anyway, with that closing comment, Leia code 6969 didn't work. The movie was pretty good. Go see it. Thanks for stopping by. BB-8 is good.
And
there's this weird ass like doppelganger black BB-8 who doesn't do anything, but
they have so much like fan warfare.
They can sell a lot of his toys.
Yeah.
Dude, they have like a lot of like that's like half like the pop figures I see for like this. And the Stormtrooper executioners and the Praetorian guards, which I don't know why those were like out already, like within like a year, like a year before like the movie came out.
Yeah, closing comments. Go see it. Go see it to find out where all your favorite toys came from, and to go see Rey, Kylo, and Luke, and Poe Dameron steal the show. Thanks for watching, boys and lads and ladies, everything in between.